Whoo! What's going on? What's going on? We all know Canelo Alvarez was facing Callum, whatever the hell that dude's name is. Smith. You know, whatever number he is in that family. There's like 80 of them, literally. And they all, 80 boys in that goddamn family. But anyway, they will fight on Saturday, and Earl Spence showed up. He was dripped out, enjoying his life. And he pulled up to look at the event, be part of the event, and I guess a semi kind of, let it be known that he wants, Canelo Alvarez. This is one of the people that he wants to face. And it looks like he wants to face Canelo pretty soon if he can. I know his 2021 schedule, I expect it to be busy. I expect him to probably fight a Sean Porter next in a rematch. Which will be a very successful bout that they'll have. And if he's able to get past that, I see him probably facing Manny Pacquiao after that. But at the same time, I would not be shocked at all if the Manny Pacquiao fight actually happened next. Wouldn't be shocked if that's actually what happens. But we have to see when it comes to that. So, and he's talked about having 2 to 3 more fights at 147. So I'm thinking again, maybe the first half of next year he might do that one more fight at 147, and after that go ahead and move up. And if the possibility is there, he's going to be willing to move up to 160 pounds and take on a Canelo Alvarez. Whether Canelo's going to come down to 160 or not, I don't know. A lot of people are actually talking about this fight. They want to see this fight. Me personally, I don't. Canelo's he's a 168 pounder. He's big as hell. This dude is shredded and cut up at 170. And he can make 160. Oh yeah, using help, from substances. And knowing that, I'm not sure why anybody would want to see basically a 147 pounder jump up 2 weight classes and take on somebody that big who is on substances. Not sure why anybody would want to see that. Me personally, I don't. That man could get ruined. He could get ruined. But this decision that he's making, and it's something that he wants to do. It's a task that he wants to take on. And since that's the case, you gotta let the man do what he wants to do. So that, that's definitely a possibility. Him taking on Canelo Alvarez in a fight that will be obviously financially very lucrative. And for Canelo, he'll look at it as a situation where he's facing a smaller guy that's moving up in his weight, and he's done this before with multiple fighters, whether it be, what's his name? He's fought guys that came up from lower weight classes like Shane Mosley, Miguel Cottos, Amir Khan, Josecito Lopez. Like, he got a lot of small guys in there, and this will just be another one. Obviously, a lot more skilled, a lot more talented, and we'll see where the chips may lie. When that happens, if that happens. By doing the little interviews that you're having, they also brought up Terence Crawford, and with Terence Crawford, he said, yeah, absolutely. He could see that fight probably happening next year, but in order for it to happen, that Top Rank, I guess, would have to, pretty much get on board with reality, in order for it to happen. Which pretty much means they got to understand that, he is the A side, which he is. This is a guy that's based pretty much back-to-back pay-per-views. Looks like he's done 300,000 plus on every single one of them. Pay-per-views alone, this guy's generated probably over $100 million in the last 3 fights. Selling over 300,000 pay-per-views. Or something up there. Something up there. He's generated a lot. And clearly Terence Crawford has done nothing of the sort. Pay-per-view about the gates, big gates as well. High dollar amounts. So he's doing very, very well when it comes to boxing, when it comes to the lucrative side of boxing. And Terence Crawford's been doing spectacular as far as his performances. But when it comes to the financial aspects of it, he hasn't been generating anything close to what Earl Spence has been doing. Hasn't even put bouts that could be put on pay-per-view, and the one that they did put on pay-per-view wasn't too successful. So he's right. When he says, hey, they got to understand that, whatever we offer them, 60-40, 70-30, and for whatever weird reason, everybody's kind of stuck on, oh, he said 730, he said 730. That doesn't mean anything. It's like, pretty much he's willing to go in there, he's willing to negotiate, and, he's still going to take the lion's share. It will be something like a 60-40. It will be something where PBC is going to be controlling the event. They're going to pick the location. Terrence Crawford is going to be giving us 40% of whatever it is, and he has to pretty much show up and fight. So it doesn't mean that they're going to, they're only going to give him 30% of the purse. And it's also going to depend. Because when you get back-to-back pay-per-views that generate that amount of money, now if you take on like a Manny Pacquiao next, and you guys do $1 million together, and Terrence Crawford does another bout on regular television, and it's like, and who's he going to fight exactly? You kind of you're continuing to float into a different stratosphere while this man is just staying standing, and you're keeping on flying up into the skies. You can't come into a situation like that and expect, to be on equal footing with that person that's progressing so high. You just can't. I also don't believe that Bob Arum wants to do the fight. I believe Bob Arum, regardless of despite what Bob Arum says, Bob Arum's making a lot of money off Terrence Crawford. He's making a killing. I promise you, the fee that they give him for those fights that he puts into his pocket are a lot higher than what Terrence Crawford gets paid. A lot higher. He's making a killing off Terrence Crawford. I'll tell you that right now. And he's going to continue to do so. He's probably going to looking like, yo, I can rock this kid for the next 4 to 6 years. 2 fights. I'm getting this amount of money from ESPN. I'm getting this amount of money from these site fees. I'm taking 30% off of what Terrence Crawford is making anyway. I'm taking all that and putting that in my pocket. The Spence fight, all right, cool. That's what we making 3 fights off of him. But then we might ruin this other 6 to 8 fights that we're going to make when it pertains to finances off this kid. Nah, we good. So I don't think they actually want to make that fight. They don't want to ruin Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford also brings in the highest viewerships on ESPN. He brings in the highest gates on ESPN. And Bob Arum's not going to make... Bob Arum, they think long game. That's why one of the reasons why I also said that Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury is not happening. Because Eddie Hearn's thinking about Anthony Joshua long term. The long game with Anthony Joshua. He's thinking about 16 fights with Anthony Joshua. 18 fights with Anthony Joshua. 6, 7, 8 years with Anthony Joshua. That's what he's thinking. So yeah, I don't care how much money they say. It's $100 million or whatever it is. That's probably 4 fights. 4 fights, that's cool. I'm going to get this money up front for 4 fights, but I'm going to piss down 8 to 10 fights because this kid's now ruined. It's not going to happen. So they don't want to see the fight anyway. They don't want to do the fight anyway. In Top Rank, I don't believe they want to do this fight. I believe they're going to use that boy up, make as much money as they can off of him, and when it comes time, they're going to feed him to a young boy. Some young kid that's a welterweight, that's at Top Rank, they're going to feed him to him. And then start making money off that kid. They're going to win the next Teofimo Lopez of 147 pounds, or maybe actually Teofimo Lopez himself will be the person that beats Terrence Crawford, and moves on to the next step of Top Rank and what they'll do, whatever they have planned. So they can continue progressing, with what they do. But so everybody kind of get off the 730 thing. I think he was just pretty much saying that he understands, that he's on a much higher level, obviously, than Terrence Crawford, and he's going to be expected to be treated as such when it comes to negotiations. I don't think it would actually be a 70-30 at all. I think it'd probably be close to like a 60-40, something of that nature. Which at the end of the day, I don't really care. If they both agreed to getting paid $2 each and they did the fight, Cool, we do that. But the reason why we talk about these things is when people ask you why these fights aren't being made, or they try to say, "Oh, this person's ducking." You have to explain, and you have to explain to them why exactly they're not ducking. Or they're saying, "Oh, who cares about the money? Who cares about the money? They should just fight. They should just fight. Just give them 50-50." Okay, we can flip that around. Who cares about the money? Who cares about the money? Let him just take the 40% and let's do the fight. You can say it that way too. But hopefully they are able to work something out between those two, and hopefully we are going to be able to see that fight next year. But personally, do I think it's going to happen? No. But anyways, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.